Hi, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this video, if you've stumbled upon this video, you probably have some level of interest in hiring a virtual assistant or maybe some remote staff in Latin America. Well, this video is designed to tell you what you can expect, what some things to look out for in the process, and then to potentially see how we can help in the future. The first thing I want to focus on is, why are people hiring in Latin America? Well, a lot of people are looking for virtual staff or to expand their staff in Latin America because of primarily cost savings, time zone friendliness. There's a lot of different ways which I'm going to touch on today. So the first thing I want to talk about, and what I just mentioned just now, is why are people hiring in Latin America? Well, the first thing is the time zone friendliness or the geographic location. Traditionally, maybe 10, 15 years ago, when it first became a popular thing to do, was to hire in the Philippines, India, Pakistan, different parts of the world to where you could save money. What we found is over the last 3 to 5 years is a lot of companies are kind of shifting gears because they got tired of that kind of 16-hour time zone difference or whatever it is, not being able to really see their people, all the communication kind of by email, and then kind of the drop-off as well. You might be working with one virtual assistant one week, but 3-4 weeks later they kind of fall out. So a lot of people are looking for alternatives, A, to save cost, but also B, so that they can find people that are a little closer to home and that it's all within like a geographically friendly kind of destination. So if you're in the United States or even Canada, you're usually going to be within 4 or 5 hours of anywhere in Latin America. Now, I'm not talking destination-wise, I'm talking within a time zone. So there's the time zone friendliness. So you're not dealing with the 16-hour time zone difference, you're dealing with like a 4 or 5 hour time zone difference at a max. Sometimes it's the same time zone. So you do have that. Number two, a lot of people are coming to Latin America because there's a very high level of English here. There's a really high level of education. There's a lot of professionals in a lot of different backgrounds. You have, half of Silicon Valley here in Mexico recruiting in different parts of Latin America because they're looking for software developers, they're looking for test engineers, they're looking for people in the IT space, maybe project managers. So there's a lot of really talented people here that speak English, highly educated, and they're looking for great opportunities with US companies. Number two, on the flip side of that, there's also obviously high levels of Spanish. So maybe you have a customer base that only speaks Spanish. Well, we have customer service agents who can speak Spanish, salespeople, account managers who all can kind of tailor their approach and speak in the same language that maybe some of your customers are speaking in now. So you don't have that challenge. And that's something that's a little different than you may see in some of the other countries that you may have outsourced previously, is they do speak English and Spanish, and they're both native in each. Number three, when this is a big one, I've talked about the geographic friendliness of it. A lot of people love to be able to jump on a plane and meet their team in Mexico City or a central location. You have Medellin, Costa Rica, Mexico, all these different places that you can visit in a couple of 2 or 3 hour flight. And you can meet with your team, you can get them, kind of build that camaraderie that a lot of companies are looking for, and you don't have to worry about traveling 16 hours to meet somebody in person. Or on the flip side of that, maybe this person has a US visa. There's a lot of professionals in Latin America that they can travel back and forth to the United States, and maybe you just get them on a plane and they can meet with your team in, Texas or New York or California, wherever that destination may be. And I'm just kind of hitting the hot spots, but it's another level of reason of why people are hiring closer to home, getting things a little closer within their same time zone. And then finally, I think there's this is a big one, is that a lot of people have actually lived in the States. So there's a lot of professionals, a lot of people living in Latin America that have ties to the States, they have their families, they may have worked or lived there before, and they have a lot of the same cultural nuances. They know some of the same sports teams, they know the fast food restaurants, so they can kind of build that camaraderie. They can build that kind of trust between customer service and maybe the company that you're dealing with. And so those are kind of some of the main reasons people are drawn to Latin America. Now, the big thing I want to talk about now is, you may ask the question, why would I need a recruiter? Why would I need a company like yours, Josh, to help us hire in Latin America? Well, there's a few reasons I'm going to touch on. Number one, each one of these respective countries in Latin America have their own set of labor laws. Traditionally, how it works is these labor laws, they tend to favor the employee or the contractor. They don't always favor the company that's hiring them. So it's really good to know, even if you're not going to be offering benefits, what those benefits are and what those labor laws are, so that you're staying within bounds of those labor laws. Number two, I think a lot of people are looking to hire a recruiter because, and this is a big one, especially if you've seen some of our other videos, the salaries. So if you may do a quick Google search, or you may use sources like Indeed.com or Salary.com, Salary Explorer, there's a number of them out there. But the salary data that you find on these sites is typically wrong or inaccurate. And the reason why is because they're always surveying Spanish-speaking professionals. They're always looking for the HR managers and HR directors who have all this data, but they're usually just talking to Spanish speakers. They're not talking to the English speakers. When you're talking to English speakers, that salary really tends to jump for obvious reasons. Sometimes they're working for US companies, sometimes they're dealing with people in the US or around the world, and so those salaries will tend to jump. So the salary data you see online is not something to rely on, okay? And then the third reason is maybe there's a very specialized position you're looking for. Let's give an example. Business development manager, maybe selling medical supply equipment. You wanna find somebody in business development, medical supplies, and you can't really just post on that. You know, you might post something on Indeed or LinkedIn, which are two major sites obviously in Latin America, or most of Latin America, and you're gonna get hundreds of resumes that have nothing to do with it. So in that case, you want a headhunter, somebody specialized, somebody that has the tools above and beyond just posting online, to where they can go look at passive candidates, reach out to them, and try to get the best fit for your business. So those are some of the reasons you may want to reach out to a recruiter. Now, the final thing I want to talk about before we move on is if you've hired remotely before, if you've hired virtual assistants before in places like India, Pakistan, the Philippines, obviously a big one, please don't use that as a benchmark for salaries in Latin America, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to save you a lot of time. If you're looking to pay the same amount, Latin America is not the place. And I'm just going to kind of be upfront with you. Latin America tends to have higher salaries than some of those other destinations. Maybe proximity to the States, maybe because they do a lot more business with the United States. There's still substantial savings to be had in Latin America. You could probably save about 40% of what salaries are in the States, maybe 30, 40% in some areas, just depending on what the industry is or what the position is. Sometimes it can be higher than that. It just depends on what the position is really. But I don't want you to come to Latin America if you have an interest and you're looking to pay the same rates. They are going to be a little higher than what you've traditionally paid if you've done this before. But like I said, there's still substantial savings to be had. There are a lot less salaries than the United States and Canada and other parts of the world. So if you're looking for that, there's still those opportunities. Now, if you have any questions, we'd love to speak to you on the other side. Thanks for watching this video in its entirety. If you're ready to book a call with us, go ahead and click on the button below. It'll give you a Calendly link. You can pick a time at your convenience, and we can talk about how you want to hire in Latin America. Now, if you're not quite ready to book a call, go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to offer you a free guide. Just go ahead and put your email in. We're going to send you a link to basically download a free guide about how you can hire in Latin America and what you need to be prepared for. Thanks again for watching. We look forward to seeing you on the other side.